All right, everybody, we finished up gases, we finished up liquids, and last is solids. Really quick one here. I guess I could probably put this in the other video, but I figured I'd make a fresh one just for this one, just to keep everything separate, no big deal. Okay, so when we talk about solids, solids are, for this class, going to be fairly one-dimensional. We all know that solids are phases where the particles come together and they form very strong attractions, tightly packed particles. Have their own shape and their own volume. Okay, so that's what we look at. Okay, a couple of different types of solids that we could come across. And again, you don't necessarily have to know which compounds do this. Some simple names of some different ways that these crystals come together. Called a simple cubic shape. We have a body-centered cubic where you have like a particle in the middle, and then these attract around it. And then we call this face-centered cubic where you have a face in front, you have a cube here. So different ways that you can have solids. Okay, basically in any true solid, okay, the particles are very tightly packed, okay, into a ordered, organized pattern in a regular geometric pattern. Sometimes they call it a lattice. Okay, solid particles, however, can still move, okay, and they vibrate around some fixed point. Okay, so if you had this particle here, you would be vibrating around this area. So particles in a solid are still moving. There is still some kinetic energy there. Okay, so the particles vibrate around the fixed points. Okay, a solid changes to its liquid state at the melting point. Okay, remember that what that is. Okay, I think we're all good where that is. Just remember when you change phases that your temperature remains constant. Okay, some solids have such high vapor pressures, so which is a little strange. So think about a solid having the particles in the solid here. Okay, and if again, just like in a liquid, you can have particles of the solid that actually escape the solid phase into this. All right, and some solids have such weak forces. If you have weak forces in the solid, okay, what you can have sometimes is you skip the liquid phase. So again, solids that have very, very weak forces at 1 atm will escape into a gas. So you would go from a solid directly to a gas, and that would produce pressure. Okay, so that would skip that, okay, and that would be called sublimation. So sublimation is when you have a solid phase that goes directly to a gas phase, which skips the liquid. Okay, and you can also go back the other way. You can take a gas and go back and form a solid. Okay, and that is called deposition. So again, if you weren't sure about those phase changes, again, that would be, and again, sublimation is going to be your endothermic. Okay, deposition would be exothermic. Again, anytime you're going together to form a solid substance from a liquid or a gas, that would be something you would form in particles coming together, and that would be exothermic. Okay, so sublimation. Now, some good examples of sublimation. Again, iodine. Okay, crystals. Iodine, many times you'll see start as a gas. Okay, and they would go to as a solid. This would be an S here. Sorry about that. And that would go to iodine as a gas. That would be a sublimation. Very common on tests. Okay, also if you had carbon dioxide as a solid, that would be called dry ice. Okay, that would go to CO2 as a gas also. So that would be dry ice, that would be CO2 gas. Again, you're taking a look at the little phase changes here to that. All right, and there's also some types of organic materials that do this. Water can also sublime. Snow, piles of snow on a really, really cold winter day, really dry, cold winter day, sometimes will just disappear without melting. So you'll get that too. And simply in this example down here, when you draw particles of a solid, sometimes the regents will have you do this or tests will have you do this. You just want to make sure that you draw particles very close together and touching. And if you do that, you will form the solid state like that. Okay, that would be a model of a solid. All right, so just really short amount of thing here. Not a lot going on here with solids. Again, sublimation is probably the biggest thing that you need to know about this. And again, just a short little video here just to go through the last page in solids. Okay. Next up will be phase diagrams. We'll do something with phase diagrams, and then that'll end the unit. Okay.